Hello everyone, happy Monday on this ridiculously cold and white November morning. So yeah, that's what happened this morning as I was shoveling myself out of my driveway, which sucks. So good morning. Oh, we have a student. Hello Daria. Hi. Hi Daria.
Hello, Stephanie.
So I'm recording right now, so just so you know, so say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody, but I don't see anybody else.
No, just mute, yes.
Right?
Yes, in case they watch this later, so hello.
Hello.
And if you don't want anybody to hear you, just mute your mic, okay? As I just start the lesson. So it's up to you. You can mute your mic.
Okay,
It's all good. So I am going to get started today, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to go through, because as you know, our formal papers for Catcher in the Rye are due today. So it would be a good idea to go over some of the formatting of MLA in regards to submitting a formal paper. So I'm going to go through that. This lesson might be a little long and a little dry, and I am terribly sorry. And Miss Carolyn Telly, who voluntold me last week to do this, so she did not have to because she got out of it. So you're a bugger, and that's now on camera, and I don't care. So anyways, we are going to go through this today. And I'm going to show you some exemplars. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, if not in this chat or when you rewatch this video later, of course, you know how to get a hold of us. Give us a call, send us an email, and we are more than happy to help you. So I'm going to get started. I don't want to waste any more of your time because I know it's precious. So in regards to writing a formal paper in MLA style, there are specific things you need to include. They're a little stiff, and it's just kind of the expectation of what MLA is supposed to look like. So what I am going to do is I'm going to flip my screen so you see what I see. You know how this works. So 1 second as it flips over here. There we go. Okay, here we go. So first and foremost, the very front or beginning of your paper needs to look like this. So on the left-hand corner, you are going to have your name, your teacher's name, your course code right here, and the date of which you are submitting your paper. Okay? So always and always you are putting this in the left-hand corner of your paper. Now, this only goes on the very front page. This is not to be included on every single page. This is kind of like your mini cover page right here. Okay? On the right-hand side, you will include your last name and the page number. Okay? And then what's going to happen is from there, you're going to have a title, and yes, you must have a title for your paper. Now, based on the outline of which we provided you, usually we try and tell you it doesn't have to be an overly detailed title, but it does have to basically kind of like an incomplete sentence or thought in regards to what your paper is going to be about. Okay, sometimes we try and ask you, try and make it catchy. Again, it's part of the intrigue of trying to grab your reader's attention. So you're going to have your title. You're always going to indent because it's a new paragraph. And then, of course, you are going to double space. That is something that Word actually does for you. I can show you that once I show you the exemplar. I'll get there. But Word will actually double space, so it actually looks like this. Okay? Now, the font and size you are expected to use when you are writing in MLA format is Times New Roman, size 12. Or if you're going to use Arial, they say about a size 10, well, I even prefer 11 myself, but size 10, 11. So depending on which font you want to use. So in terms of the beginning or front page of your paper, this is what it is to look like. Okay, now what I'm going to show you is an exemplar. So this was actually an exemplar from a former student. And that was actually submitted to Miss Tully, and I'm going to kind of use it and go through. So once again, you have your title. Here you go. You have your required information. So that is the student's last name, your teacher's name. You, of course, have your course code, and of course, you have the date of which it is going to be submitted. We just changed things around for you guys, obviously. Now, On the right-hand corner, you have the last name of the student. Now, the one thing this student did not do on her first page, or maybe actually you don't have to because it's your first page, is page 1, which actually, yeah, because that is the first page, it didn't do it. So then, of course, you go into your second page. Again, you don't have to have anything in the left-hand corner, but we have our last name in our page, which is page 2, page 3, 4, and then our works cited, with which once again we'll get into in a minute. So that is kind of the look of which we are going for in regards to MLA format. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring your attention, because I want to do this in a type of order. So that is what the format is, what it's supposed to look like. You will notice that it is in Times New Roman up here, and it's size 12. You have your indentation, because it's your first body paragraph, and you will notice that after that, every single paragraph is in fact, or new paragraph rather, is indented. Okay, now I'm going to draw your attention right to the bottom of this paper first. And actually, I'm pulling this up a bit because it should be pulled up a bit. Okay, this is what's known as a works cited page, which is what MLA refers to it as, otherwise known as a bibliography page. So for our paper, we are specifically, obviously, citing and using Catcher in the Rye. So therefore, you really are only going to have one source for your works cited page, and that is going to be Catcher in the Rye. Now, there is a way, a format, if you will, in regards to how you create a works cited page. And the beauty of technology is that you yourself don't have to do it. There is a website that does this for you, and Lord knows that did not exist when I was in school. I had to do it from a book and memorize how to do it. But the beauty of technology is, there we go. Sorry about the screen, guys. Just trying to get it. There we go. So there is a website of which creates an MLA citation page basically for you. So what you do is you are going to type in, and I don't know if you guys can see that properly. So let me try and fix my screen here. There we go. Sorry about that. So you will type in Citation Machine, or www.citationmachine.net, or if you type it into Google, you're just going to type in Citation Machine and it's your very first link that pops up. Either way, it looks like this. It takes you to a page that looks like this. You have to pick your format. So you're going to do APA, MLA, Chicago, or more. So obviously I've clicked MLA. That's our style that we're working with. Okay? And then you are going to identify what it is you are citing. In our case, we are, of course, citing a book. I'm going to type in, pardon my typing here, Catcher in the Rye. I'm going to search. And there you have it. So there are all your matches for Catcher in the Rye. I'm just going to take the first one. I'm going to click on Select. Give it a minute because she's loading here. Still loading. 1 second. Let's try that again. I don't know what's happening. My computer is picking an awful time to freeze. Okay. For the sake of time, I'm so sorry. But we'll have this will work on your end, I promise you. Final step, maybe that's what it is. Hang on 1 second. There we go. Perfect. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So I've clicked it. It has auto-filled all this information for you. It's all done. Click on Create Citation. There it is, right there. So that is exactly the order and format of which it is supposed to look like. I'm going to click Copy and Paste. It tells you it has been copied and pasted. I would then go to my paper. And of course, just like this, you put your title in the center, Works Cited. Now, this is from another paper I'm just going to show you. I'm going to go to Paste. Oh, goodness gracious. That's not working. Let's try that again. Okay, let me do it the old-fashioned way and actually just copy it and do it this way. And I'm going to paste it. There you go. So I indent it. that tells kind of like it kind of numbers it for you. So that's a 1 source, 2 source. Remember, you're only going to have 1 source, but just to show you, this is what it is. Catcher in the Rye, that's going to be right under Works Cited, last name still, and page number. So that is what your bibliography page is to look like. And Citation Machine, there's another one called bibme.org that also works really well. Whichever one you use, please, 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 Works Cited page, because we are working with quotations, we're working with text and material that is in fact not our own. We have to give it credit, and we have to in fact make sure that we do have a Works Cited page. And a Works Cited page, I'm just going to get rid of this now for the sake of our exemplar here. A Works Cited page is always on its own separate page. Okay? So that is basically what the front is to look like. That is what the bibliography is to look like. And now, without getting too much into the entire sort of breakdown of this paper, because my lord, this would take a really long time, and we have provided you with templates, we have provided you with lessons, as well as for those that have submitted their outlines, we have provided what we hope is really helpful feedback to get this paper on the right track. But what I want to talk about very, very briefly is some in-text citation. So I'm going to pull this up a little bit here. So again, we have our format, and then we start sort of getting into our introductory paragraph. Keeping in mind that with our introductory paragraph, we are being very clear on what our topic is. We have our hook, we have some context and some background information about in our case, our novel, our character, and the focus of our paper. So we're focusing on literary devices. So that's characterization, theme, symbolism, whichever you've chosen to do here. We're going to provide some detail, and then usually to be found at the very bottom of our introductory paragraph is our thesis statement. Okay, now I've in fact done a few things to this paper. I've actually made the thesis statement red. I did that on purpose. The student did not do that, just to be clear. Obviously, this would all be black text. So in this case, the thesis is this. The 3 theories that this story best relates to is feminist theory. That's 1. That is their first point. Psychoanalytical theory. That is their second point. And Marxist theory. That is their third point. This thesis statement is clearly identified and tells the reader what the paper is in fact about. And I think we have someone else that just joined us, which is awesome. Oh, that's Daria. Sorry, Daria. I think there's just an echo behind you, sweetie. That's all. There we go. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go back to that paper.
Use it properly to submit, because the assignment on that same page asks you to specifically use.
Daria, could you mute your mic for us, because we can hear the background?
No, so they wrote down, all of them have wrote down, I Googled who is, they don't even have,
Daria, could
they
you
just
hear
don't have
me?
Google this. Have a website that Google brought up.
So it's a bit losing connection.
Oh, Emma says that can you mute your mic? Because we can hear noise in the background based on your mic.
Sorry, I don't hear.
That's okay. Don't worry. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
No,
Okay.
it's fine now I hear it.
So here again is our thesis statement that is, again, at the very bottom, and our 3 arguing points have been made really clearly. So what I'm going to draw your attention to now is the first body paragraph that's right here. You're going to notice that it is, in fact, your first one of your first arguing points. So feminist theory is in fact feminist theory. That is going to be your first body paragraph. Psychoanalytical theory in this case should be the beginning of your second body paragraph, and lo and behold, it is. Then, of course, psychoanalytic theory for this paper, of course, is their third arguing point, and again, that is their introduction into their third body paragraph. So again, with a strong thesis, you have your 3 arguing points, and it's organized based on your body paragraph. Now, Miss Tully sort of talked about the idea of organizing it where your strongest arguing points go at your last body paragraph. in regards to ending your argument with your strongest point. So little tricks of the trade that way in regards to making sure that your thesis is clearly identified right here, and our 3 arguing points are in fact organized accordingly to our body paragraphs. And now last thing I'm going to draw your attention to is the idea of working with quotation. So we have a book of which we are referencing. Quotations are a must, especially at this level. We want those quotations in order to support our position of which we are at. So it is important to incorporate those quotations effectively and properly. So in this case, I'm going to read the example the student has. The mother and father bear sleep in separate beds, as is shown when Goldilocks has 3 different beds to try out. Daddy Bear shouted, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed." "Someone's been sleeping in my bed too," said Mama Bear. Now, that is the quote of which this person has, let's say, used for their paper. It is not too long. You'll notice it's about a sentence and a half, which is perfect. They have introduced their quotation rather than just sticking their quotation into their paper. You always want to incorporate in what you're saying. You are going to sort of, and again with the comma, identify where that quotation is, and of course that quotation has been chosen for a very specific reason. So what I want to draw your attention to is that you don't want to pick something or pick a whole paragraph of your novel. It's not necessary. It's too much. It's too long. You got to identify specific parts of that quote. What parts of that quote are in fact going to really support what it is you're trying to say. So you kind of got to filter what it is you need and take only what you need from the book. Once you do that, we put a comma, let's say, when we're incorporating it into our sentence, or into our text rather. We have our quotations, our quote, and then when we are ending it at the end of a sentence, we have our bracket. In this case, you will have the last name of your author, and you will have the page number followed by a closing bracket and a period. Okay, so that's kind of how it should look, and a couple of tips in regards to that. Again, it should not be too long, and you're going to have to be very choosy in regards to the quotations and the parts of which you need. So we can't have quotes that take over your own voice. The whole point of using quotation is only to really strengthen your position, not create your position in terms of your own voice and your own argument. You're just using our novel to in fact prove what you are trying to prove and what you're trying to say. Okay, so that's, I think, really important. And the last thing I want to draw your attention to, so I am being mindful of the time as best I can. After every quotation, it is absolutely vital that you don't just leave the quotation there. You have to explain it. You have to tell your reader why this quote is the best choice for the point of which you're trying to make. So after your quotation, for example, this indicates that the mother and father bear don't share a bed on a regular basis, and it is also indicated that they share one single bedroom with their child. So again, the student just didn't stick in the quotation. They are explaining why this quote was chosen to once again go back to their original arguing point and why it's the best in terms of supporting that. So please make sure, and they go on actually for a couple more sentences in regards to that explanation. So remember, when you are incorporating quotation, it is vital that you are putting in those things like proper brackets, proper introduction of quote, and of course proper explanation of your quotes. So that is, I think, quite a long, I'm going to go back here, close this up. My screen's being so funny. Sorry, guys. Okay. I apologize. I know that's a longer live lesson than we usually do. It's just we thought it would be really, really important that before you hand in your final papers that we go over formatting and sort of in-text citations with you. If you have any questions, and I'm really sorry that was kind of long, and I hate when I do that, or hate hearing myself talk for that long. Please contact your teacher. Let us know if you need any help. Okay, guys, so have a great Monday, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye, Daria.